I'm Andrew Scorgie, and you are listening to A Page in Time, featuring Alexander Selkirk.
First weeks on the island when I waked, it was broad day, the weather clear and the storm abated, so that the sea did not rage and swell as before. But that which surprised me most was that the ship was lifted off in the night from the sand where she lay by the swelling of the tide, and was driven up almost as far as the rock which I at first mentioned, where I had been so bruised by the wave dashing me against it. This being within about a mile from the shore where I was, and the ship seeming to stand upright. Still, I wished myself on board, that at least I might save some necessary things for my use.
These were the words by Daniel Defoe, as the character of Robinson Crusoe adjusts to life after being shipwrecked on an unknown Caribbean island. But did you know the story itself is not entirely fictional, as the believed influence comes from the real-life adventures of someone closer to home, from a small fishing village in Fife called Lower Largo. That person is Alexander Selkirk, and you join me on location as we stand just under the statue dedicated to him and his influences on historical popular stories. And what do we know of him? He was engaged in buccaneering, and by 1704 he was sailed on board the Cinque Ports by Juan Fernandez Islands, 400 miles off the coast of Chile, when a disagreement with his captain over the seaworthiness of the ship. He declared that he would rather stay on the island than to continue on a dangerously leaky ship, for which Captain Stradling held Selkirk to his word and left him on the island with only a musket, a hatchet, a knife to defend himself with, and a cooking pot, Bible and bedding. As you could imagine, the regret of such a move sunk in very quickly. Selkirk was marooned on the island for 4 years, and he was finally rescued in 1709 by the crew of the Duke. Ironically, this was piloted by another buccaneer he once sailed with, that being William Dampier. From here, he learnt of the fate of the Cinque Ports, and must have felt vindicated in his view, as he found out that it fell foul to the Spanish not long after being abandoned on Juan Fernandez Island. In his younger days, before even dreaming of reaching the rank of lieutenant in the Navy, Selkirk was a bit rough and ready. He was known to get into all sorts of bother with the locals, especially in the church that's down in Lower Largo. So much so, he was due for a little spell in the jail, if it wasn't for him setting sail before his date in front of the judge. Now, as we come to the end of our visit here in Lower Largo, it is about time I met with the locals myself. Under another iconic vista within the village, I'm stopping by the Railway Inn for lunch and a drink, which is just under the old viaduct. Now, unlike Selkirk, this will be a much friendlier visit. Join me next time as we look into the writer Ian Rankin and one of his most famous characters, that of Inspector Rebus. From there, we'll be visiting the hometown of Rankin, that of Cardenden in Fife, before going to Old Reekie itself, that being Edinburgh, where the character of Rebus was based.